A lot of people know, my brother J Dilla, and here's this younger, talented brother who's an amazing songwriter and singer and rapper. Pinpoint me into some Dilla stuff. That's people trying to live off of my bro.
The validation comes from the fans.
Don't worry about what all the other people are doing. Don't try and measure yourself on all these other people. You do you.
I don't think any of them knew what this music machine was going to turn into.
And I thought, what?
I don't get a chance to celebrate my own 18-year career that I've had. Oh yeah, I see it. It's just like that cloud over me everywhere I go, and I just feel like I have so much pressure, so much to prove.
So that you can have your path clear to be you and get a fair shot at achieving your own success.
It's not even about music anymore, and I think that's the biggest problem. I can't be mad at them if I sign some.
On today's DocuChat, we journey into the career of a singer, songwriter, producer, and rapper from Detroit, who just happens to be the younger brother of someone many would consider as royalty in hip-hop. But he's also carved his own reputation in the music world, so I want to focus more on that than anything. We'll also be talking to his now musical partner, whose solo career speaks for itself, which we'll find out more about during the course of the interview. Our guests today are Ash Walker and Illa J, younger brother to the late, great J Dilla. Guys, how you doing?
Good, man. Chilling.
Yeah, man. All good. Just, yeah, man. Happy
Excellent.
to be here,
Illa J, what I want to do is I want to just find out a little bit of background to your youth growing up in a musical household, because what I understand is that your parents were both in the whole music world as well. Your mom was an opera singer, your dad was a pianist, vocalist, producer, so on. And, not many people seem to know about that side of the thing, which I believe you're keen to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if we going back, what I mean, I said like for me, like like I said, a lot of people know, my brother J Dilla, rest in peace. Very prolific music producer, and they, he's put in hip hop, but he's a genius music producer. You know what I mean? But even that goes back to my father, which is actually something I rarely get to talk about. Like my dad, like how he met my mom literally is through. So my dad would develop artists back in the day, kind of artist development, but he didn't really he wasn't getting paid for it or nothing like that. It's just like he just really had an interest in working with artists. Like, ooh, you have a dope voice. Let's write something. Let's perform together. So it's like I still have that in me till still today. You know what I mean? And that's actually how I like people like Harley is that same kind of thing where I feel like like from my dad in a sense. So but that's actually how my dad met my mom, and pretty much my dad was a songwriter back in the day in the doo-wop days and stuff. So everything like that I know from obviously I listen to a lot of Motown, but everything I know, my ear and everything is really just like from my dad. Like his favorite singer was Sam Cooke. I even have a song Sam Cooke. It's actually literally tribute to my dad. So yeah, my dad was like he's like the biggest foundation in my music, and that and being in church actually like all like that combined was like my musical foundation coming up. And then rap just happened to be the popular thing that was, what I mean? As growing up, rap was getting bigger and bigger. So it's almost like I was actually going to sing more on my first record. And then the label kind of influenced me to like, no, man, you should rap more. You know what I mean? So yeah, but that's kind of like in a nutshell, like, like my foundation, honestly, like my father plays a big part in that.
I was speaking to Daryl earlier, and he said something about a big song that was out there that your dad apparently wrote and wasn't credited for publicly.
Yeah, it's a shame about the Spinners. And if you heard my dad write songs, like obviously this is one of those things where if you go and ask someone, like, hey, did someone ghostwrite your song? Obviously, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to say, yeah, he wrote it. You know what I mean? Like that's the point. I paid you to say you didn't write it. You know what I mean? So obviously, you're never going to find that type of stuff. But yes, my dad wrote that song like on the organ at home, and uh like he would, like I said, like if you listen to like his unreleased stuff, things he had on the reel, like my dad had songs on the reel still, like when I was growing up, and like you can hear his ideas and his melodies and harmonies, how he writes and stuff. So it's like but you know what I mean, it's like we know, so it's like it's okay, it's not one of those things where he's like pressing for it like that. But I mean, it's just what it is. That's what happens when you ghostwrite. You know what I mean? Like just like my brother with Got Till It's Gone. You know what I mean? Like technically it's Jimmy Jam and Jerry Lewis, but that's hey, that's you know what I mean. That's what ghostwriting. That's what it's for. You know what I mean? It's like either way, it's still a opportunity to work with bigger artists and stuff. I mean, you know what I mean. It's just decisions you make within the industry. You know what I mean? Maybe my dad might look back and like, dang, maybe I should have just took my credit. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things, learning lessons like in the industry. Yeah.
That's what ghostwriting is. That's what you said. But writers, when they write stuff, they still maybe feel like they deserve the credit, but because of a little bit of money, like they're giving up all their rights and all that kind of stuff. I mean, could it have been different? Like ghostwriters getting the credit and getting the respect and being remembered for what they did?
When they doing it, obviously it's for marketing. Like it's an artist has a certain brand, so we want to put this artist out there and put this name behind them, right? But realistically, you don't have to give up your rights or anything like that. You know what I mean? But obviously, when artists are trying to make it, they're looking for these opportunities to get their name out there as a writer, and obviously some of that involves like, well, you working with bigger artists, so they have a bigger name. So a lot of times you'll still get the credit, but then maybe the artist with the bigger name, they will take more of the credit just because their name is so big that just be you know what I mean, because that's also a real thing. It's a business. It's just what it is. It's a business. So like you can give this song to anyone, but because artist A can sell hundreds of millions of records, just them already putting it out already sells that many records. That it's just what it is. You can't It's hard to measure that when you give that song to someone else. That like, yeah, it could pop out of nowhere. You could have a no one sing this song, but if someone is already a star, it's just what it is. It's a marketing power in that they can kind of throw at you and say, hey, well, because my name is on here, it's going to sell this many records all right away. And it's like it's hard to argue that, but it's up to you as a songwriter to say, okay, I'll keep that for myself, or skip it. I'll take this little credit, or you know what I mean. It's still up to you at the end of the day to make that decision. There's never a situation where you just have to absolutely give it up. You know what I mean? But I mean, sometimes it's not an ego thing. Sometimes it's just more like I don't mind people like I'm like content with knowing I wrote it and someone gets to they're famous for that. Because again, the fame thing is overrated. Like everyone wants everyone to know their name, and it's like it's not necessarily a healthy thing. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes it's good to like I honestly want to go more into songwriting in the sense of like writing for other people. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's a cool kind of thing. You could be more creative and you don't have to be such in a box because like you can be free depending on whatever project that you're working on. But I mean, definitely get your credits. I mean, I'm getting my pub and my writing. If I write it, I'm getting I'm gonna get my credit for sure. But you know what I mean? Hey, to each his own.
Did he do a lot of other stuff like he was ghostwriting and getting maybe not credited for? Did it change his life? Did he get like loads more gigs happening because people were finding out on a street level?
It didn't work that way back then. Like he got like I believe it was like 5 G's for that for writing it. He bought a car, and I forgot what kind of car it was, and you know what I mean. And he parked it somewhere in Detroit. The next day, the car was stripped.
Oh,
Yeah. That's what happened. Like, that's what literally what happened. And then, but my dad, he worked at Ford's for 40 years. Like that was a big part of his life. It's funny. I just got a big Thunderbird on my back,
Yeah.
but it's like it's meant for the Native American, repping my Native American heritage. But it just happens that it's also special to me because my dad worked at Ford's and he had a Thunderbird back in the day. But like all that to say, like he spent a lot of his like most of his life working at, like I said, 40 years at Ford Motor Company. So, but yeah, it definitely changed his life because I'm pretty sure if he would have made a few different moves differently, because he stayed right around the corner from Smokey, like growing up. For me, I grew up in Conant Gardens, so it's like it's still Detroit, but it's almost like certain areas. It's like they have this, you know what I mean? But he grew up in the Black Bottom, and Smokey lived around the corner from him. It was like one of those things that was like everybody was singing and doing doo-wop back in the day. So I mean, he definitely had his shots in a sense to do that, but then it's It was a lot going on back in the day. I mean, no one, and honestly, I don't think any of them knew what this music machine was going to turn into.
So, Ash, I know you're from London, and I believe Harlesden is
Yeah,
pretty
man.
much where it all
Yeah,
began for
yeah,
you.
yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Give us a little bit background on yourself.
Yeah, so Northwest London, like born and raised. Yeah, and always had that soundtrack of soul music and funk and jazz and everything else in between, sort of growing up, as well as a lot of reggae music. You know, being from where I'm from, like being Irish Caribbean. You know, you got heritage, so it's like. So that was it was quite a melting pot of a place, you know, especially in the '90s. So yeah, that's sort of grew up. That's how I grew up, and then music sort of yeah, it's always been something that's been around me and in my life. No one in my family is a musician per se, but my mum's always been like a record collector, you know, just like being into soul music. So that's kind of been my guiding soundtrack that's been in the background. Basically, it's like basically all the similar stuff that John would have grew up with. Like in his household, I had the similar sort of soundtrack, but then with the added twinge of reggae and roots, and you know, like being the underpinnings. Um, so yeah, I mean, studied music and you know, been playing in a band for years and made a bunch of albums over the years. And producing is something that is my strong point, basically. So it's like that's where I sort of honed my craft since I was yeah, since probably about 8 or 9. You know, so yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. And then yeah, fast forward to meeting John last year, this time last year, at the BBE store, and it was random because we got just he'd come over and with Daryl had put us together and said you guys need to meet. John needs a place to crash. I was like, sure, you can crash at mine. And then our conversation quickly steered to organs because I've got a couple of Hammond organs and stuff at my house. So it's like it felt like this. It felt like this funny synergy. We're like, okay, we've got quite a lot more in common than we thought. And then sort of hanging out at my house. Obviously, I collect a lot of soul music, you know. And then I feel like for John, he kind of maybe felt like it was instantly like you know like a bit of a nostalgic feeling of the old soul music that he grew up with, you know, as well because you know we're kindred spirits in that way. So we were just listening to a lot of soul, just hanging out, and just never really had. We obviously thought, yeah, we'll make some music together at some point, but never really had this like focused goal on we must make stuff. We were just chilling, and a friend of mine that was over, that was sorry, a friend of that was staying with me at the time as well. Her brother was like an amazing Berkeley trained musician and producer that happens to be from Indonesia and is in a pop production world over there. But then is both massive fans of John, my music, obviously John's brother, and was just like, guys, we have to make some music together while I'm here. And we're just like, yeah, sure, we're gonna do it. And then it got to the last day that Abram was staying. So he was like, "I'm going to play some keys. I'm going to order you guys some breakfast. We've got 2 hours. I need to make music with you now." So we were like, "All right, cool. Let's get something cooking in it." He just started playing some fire chords, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to lay down a beat." John just like, "I just need to start writing to this straight away." You know, we was just all grooving, and then like Abram left, went back to Indonesia, and then next couple of days, me and John just homed in on the four kind of rough outlines that we had, and then before we knew it, we were like, shit, we've got a project. Like, so let's Daryl, do you want to hear what we've been making? He was like, damn, this is cool. I'm going to play it to Pete. Pete at BB was like, we need to put this out. So everything just kind of funnily snowballed from there, and then yeah, fast forward to like John coming back for now for like a few more days, some more off days between a next tour that he was doing, and then I'd just come back from my tour, and we were like, might as well just make some more music together, man. Let's make another EP, and then the second EP turned into an album, and then that spawned the band, Jaywalk and The Cadillacs, and that kind of led us to where we are now, a year later, with an EP out that's just come out on Friday, and this next album that we're looking to drop next year. So, yeah, it's been a pretty wild journey, you know. And it's like, you know, you never know where things are gonna turn and throw you a curveball, and it's just like it's just nice to have a musical synergy with somebody that you would have never necessarily thought you were going to come together with, and be able to make music so seamlessly and completely understand and value each other's ideas in it, you know. So it's been quite a nice learning experience, I'm sure, for both of us. You know, we're learning a lot more about ourselves as artists, and what we want to kind of achieve musically, you know. So it's quite nice to kind of have this sort of full circle moment for both of us as well, doing something now that feels a lot closer to our hearts.
How much like knowledge are you picking up from, like, because the way I see it, by the time he's born, his knowledge is already started because he's got that already engraved within the family. Whereas you
Yeah,
didn't. You were probably out there riding bicycles, skateboarding, doing whatever, and music wasn't.
I learnt guitar from quite young. I mean, I was I was the kid that always wanted to go ride with my mum in the car because she was always playing music. You know, my mum always playing music at home. Like it was a very, it wasn't like a play necessarily from a playing point of view, a musical household, but like my mum liked to bump her tunes. You know what I mean? So like, so I feel like I got the tail end of that from when I was in the womb to coming out, and then always having to be by my mum's when she was going out for journeys in the car, because I knew she'd be bumping tunes in the car, you know, and she'd be bumping radio. So that them ways was how I kind of got into it quite quickly. And then she took me into, I think I must have been 6 or 7. We were in a music shop, and she said, "What instrument do you want to play? Do you want to play any of these instruments?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to play guitar." Like, so yeah, that spawned my musical journey from quite a young age. And then I suppose no one else, I mean, my brother and sister have both learned instruments, you know, but like kind of from a very young age, I was writing my own stuff, composing, and then was very fortunate to have a guitar teacher who was like at about 8 or 9 was like, "Do you want to play bass? Um, and do you want to learn the bass in my studio at the end of my garden where I've got all these synthesizers and like, you know, Cubasys and all this stuff where if you press this keyboard, you're going to get a mad sound out of that, like, out of that EMU sound card." And I was just like blown mind, you know what I mean? At like 8, 9 years old. So that kind of led me down the path of production and songwriting sort of quite early, you know. And then again, like you say, not being around people that are doing it all the time meant that I could kind of squirrel in my house and be doing that all the time myself, you know. And that's kind of like where I would be spending all my time, whereas everyone's out riding bikes. I'd still go out and have a little fun outside and too fun, and then I'd always home it back to coming back and you know, firing up the family computer and programming some stuff.
You know what's you know what's crazy? Not to interrupt Ash, but like it goes on your question about, because you were saying, you know, me growing up in a musical household, and Ash, not necessarily, again, the music is there, but it's not necessarily literally you know, groups and musicians in the house, right? So it's kind of funny that you hear him talk about, you know, already on that path of music, and for me, growing up around it, it's like I'm just absorbing it, right? But I'm I'm playing basketball. I grew up an athlete, so like music was like the second. It's like weird. It was like I had to be in church, so I had to be in the choir. So it's like, yeah, I'm in the choir, but it's like music is so much around me that it's just like, yeah, that's just the thing. Everyone in the family, and my brother in the basement making beats. Yeah, cool. I want to go play some basketball. You know what I mean? Like I'm the other kid riding the bikes, and like that's me while he's making beats. So it's kind of funny. It's the exact opposite. When he's talking about the love for the music, that's the thing that we share, because that's the thing. It's like I have siblings too. You know what I mean? Not everyone did music. It's really only me and my brother and my dad that really actually pursued a career in music. You know what I mean? Now it's a thing to have the natural talent, right? You know what I mean? And again, people always talk about talent, but you know, talent, yeah, you have that natural thing. You have natural athletes. Some people are, they could just get up and just jump. They don't even stretch. They could just jump super high, right? But then there's a difference in the love and passion for it when you take it to that next level when it comes to the dedication and that, like it, like like a you really love music enough to I want to make this. Like, you know what I mean? And that's to me that's the difference in someone that's like a casual music listener and someone that makes it. It's like and again, nowadays everyone makes music, but I feel like it's one of those things where even then they don't realize like it's okay to have it as a hobby. Then there are people that really take it serious, like you know, and that's the difference. But like for me, it's like I knew that I had that love, I knew I had a deeper love for music, but the one thing was like James was so successful in it that it was like you know it's like why even compete with that, and not that I would have to compete with it, but
Yeah,
I already was smart enough to know at a young age like all right, if I do this I already know I'm gonna get comparisons like and again it's exactly what I thought, right? So it's just like
yeah,
but I've figured out my way to maneuver within it, and at the same time I will say it's been the blessing of it is that you know you pursue it with absolute respect for the craft because my brother he mastered his craft so much that it's like I can't come in this and be whack. I can't be whack. I can't
in it. Yeah,
because it's a disrespect to how good he was at his craft. So no matter what I figure, however I do it, I gotta be good. Like I got and I feel like that's the one thing that you know me and Ash, the generation we grew up in, is different because it meant something special to say I have a record deal. Like I have a record that I put out nowadays people take for granted because you could just print it on the app. You could print it yourself and yeah, that's cool, but it meant more. It meant like you have to really be good at your craft and you have to be special enough for someone to be like, I want to put money into you and put your record out.
You just said that, for someone to pretty much validate you. Yeah, but what's wrong with you validating yourself? Like, why did you need validation from record labels when you could have given yourself that validation and the people that you were appealing to were giving you that validation? It's the same validation because ultimately the validation comes from the fans, not from the record
Yeah, yeah,
labels.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but at the same time though, I mean, marketing is a real thing. You know what I mean? It's like yeah, yes, and there are people and again, like I said, we in a generation now where everyone thinks they can do everything, which is great and not at the same time, right? It's like it's good for people to believe in themselves, but I feel like they take it to a point where it's unrealistic. You know what I mean? Now there are people that are focused and have the passion and dedication and have the right mindset, and they can go and be entrepreneurs and be very successful at it. Now there are certain people that you know what, this person will do better with the team around them. You know what I mean? And that's okay. And I think that's the part where artists and the business part is like it's that's the gray area where people don't understand each other. It's like the artist is coming in personal, thinking about it this way, and the business is thinking about a return on investment. And it's just two different. And then once you start to, as an artist, think of you approach the label with that, it's just what it is. Now they got to talk to you as a business person. If you come to them like, I just want you to invest in my music, you know what I mean, with no business plan or nothing, it's like, okay, well, you know what I mean. What are the because like it's not personal to the label. Like it's just the label is just a name. They're just investors. Like you know what I mean. It's just like okay, I'm gonna make a return on my investment. So it's like I can't be mad at them if I sign some bullshit.
It's also just basically being so enthusiastic about wanting your music out that you don't care what you do for it.
yeah. Ego, man. It's that ego, in it. Yeah.
You mentioned basketball.
See, you got me hyped now. That's what I'm saying. That's how you get me hyped. You got so.
But I understand you also had a love for bowling as well, which was more of a hobby
Whew.
than a career pursuit.
I thought about going professionally. So, like, long story short, like the day that I found out my brother died, I was on the way to the bowling alley. I was practicing for a tournament. I had a tournament the next day. So it was like literally the day after my brother died, I had a tournament. Like I didn't do that good in the tournament that day, but like I literally I was on the way to bowling practice, and then I got the call from my girlfriend at the time when I was in college. She's like, I got to call you for because basically they wanted to tell me before I heard it on the radio because it was all over the radio in Michigan and everything. But like, going back to the bowling thing, that's like literally that was like at that time, had that not happened, not even joking, at the time I was on the road too. My average was like 210. I was like hitting them. You know what I mean? That could have changed my whole career. I would
You
have
know, like
I'm
that.
not even joking. Like my dad, he had a nickname. uh, called Mr. Profile. He had this perfect. If you ever seen a bowling trophy, he had like the perfect form. It looked just like a bowling trophy, and and he had this curve. Oh man.
What was more important to you, the basketball or the bowling?
Honestly, I loved both. It was one of those things where basketball was starting to take over, so I couldn't bowl as much. But I was like, realistically, I was winning so many trophies bowling. Realistic, if I had just stuck to bowling, I could like literally been a professional bowler. I don't know what that would be, but like I was like actually that good. Like I have bowling pins tattooed on my arm. Like I'm like for real
Show
serious to
us.
me. You know what I mean? It's like hold on. I don't know if you can see because of the light. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on, wait. No, you can't see it because of the. Oh yeah, there you go. Some bowling pins right there.
Yeah, sick. I know that you took that serious because, like, where most people would just go to a bowling alley and pick up one of the balls from there, you were getting specific ones for yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm coming in. I got a whole. I got the bag. I got three of my own in there. I got gloves. I got the powder. Like
The whole thing in it.
I'm like I'm to the point where when I go, I don't like I would rather go there where it's empty so I could practice because people don't have lane courtesy. So it's like it's a courtesy. It's a thing. It's like an unwritten rule that if I'm getting ready, if you next to me in my peripherals, any of my peripherals, you don't just run up if you see me already getting ready. And if you go to open bowling where it's just people just bowling, people just run up, they run on the lanes and sliding down the floor, and they throwing the ball all the way back there. Like we take it really serious. It's like it's a really like honestly, bowling was because again, it was one of those things where it's the same as music, where it's one of those things we just did, and I feel like how do I say I didn't fully appreciate like wait I'm getting really good at this, and it's the same with music where I was so focused on basketball and not realizing oh shit like I'm growing up in like literally the perfect environment to be a musician, but it's one of those things that not until college did I realize like what am I doing here? I should be doing music.
With the jazz side of things, it's like jazz, if we wanted to find it, we had to dig deep. And it was never something that was publicized and whatever. We had to know which record shops to go to. And knowing that it was kind of a scene that wasn't really supported by the mainstream. I mean, you might have someone like Giles Peterson. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's it. So,
Yeah.
what inspired you to kind of pursue the musical path that you pursued?
I knew that like I always made beats in it, yeah. And I knew that like I wanted to do more than just make beats, you know? And then at the same time I was very uh apprehensive of working with the wrong vocalists and like wanting to like mainly like home in on the right things. Being growing up in London and being like having like like garage like and jungle and drum and bass, and these kind of genres like through my teens growing up with that, like, and I'm talking about the times when like garage was more soulful, not like before it hit the mainstream, like Groove Chronicles, like Masters at Work, like all that kind of end of things that was like classy and steezy, sophisticated chords and stuff. I just knew that I wanted to make stuff that was like down tempo and like beatsy. Like that was all it was. And at the time, everyone was kind of racing to make faster music, like like garage, like dubstep, like drum and bass, house music. But like everyone's making like this faster music, and I was kind of. I don't know why I just operated a bit against the grain. I was like, I don't really feel like making that. I just want to make stuff for people to chill to, like, so I wasn't really conscious of what I was doing genre-wise, but like I knew that everyone around me, all the musicians that I was kind of like around and playing with, like everyone had studied jazz, and everyone had been down the route of like either studying it at school or like having a deep passion for it from being really into music and having delved and digged to get to read those album cover notes and be like, that guy plays on that, and do you know what I mean? Da, 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 da. So I mean, I think a lot of the inspiration came from, like I say, collecting records and knowing that, like, I wanted to try and do some interesting chord progressions, and knowing that what I made, I was thinking to myself, I know this isn't like pop music. I know this isn't like popular stuff. I know it's going to be a slow crawl, you know, like, and but then I had quite a few elders like around me when I was, you know, like in my early days of my career, you know, and I was in my late teens, like getting into my early 20s, you know. So like I had elders around me that were kind of uh prolific in their achievements with their careers, with their bands, etc. That would always say to me, just do you, Ash, man. Just you do you. You know what I mean? Don't worry about what all the other people are doing. Don't try and measure yourself on all these other people. Just like focus on what you love doing and do it. And it kind of, I don't know why, it just really resonated with me, you know. And then they were like, you know, if you do that, you'll have a career for your life. It's not a race, you know. You'll always have a career. It's one of them things, you'll always be able to do it. So I kind of like weirdly had these words kind of stick in my head that was just like, you know what, just do you. And it's like trying to get your music played on radio. People don't understand, like, what is this? It's not jazz. The jazz people are like, this ain't jazz. And then the soul guys are like, this ain't quite soul. This the hip hop people are like, these are beats, but they ain't quite like this. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all these, everywhere I turn, everyone's like, oh, I'm kind of not so sure, man. It's like, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna keep plodding along and do what I do and stay true to what I love doing, because it's what I love doing.
I like the bit where you said this ain't jazz, this ain't soul, this ain't whatever. And then in my mind, all I'm thinking is this ain't jazz, this ain't soul, this ain't all these other things. This is Ash.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's like it's my musical DNA, and it's like it encompasses everything that I grew up with. And I suppose maybe in like, I don't know, 10, 20 years time, there might be a genre for it, you know, like in the early 90s and later into the 90s, it's like, oh, acid jazz. They were coining these terms. People are really trying to hunt for a term to coin the music in, you know what I mean? It's like, no, this ain't reggae anymore. This is ragga. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no. Now it's bashment. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, so if everyone's constantly, maybe in 10, 20 years time, it's like they originally, when I first started releasing stuff, people said this is trip hop. Because it was like, they were like, no, this is like Massive Attack. Like Porter said, this is trip hop. This is like, but it's like 20 years later. And it's like, yeah, all right. Well, you know what? Whatever box you want to throw me in, just go for it.
It's weird how people always seem to want to create different boxes just to validate what they do.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, for real.
why don't you just do what already exists and just do it good? You know, because you never know when it can turn around, right? You just never know. You know, they say life goes in cycles.
Yeah, and it really does, especially with music, you know, like music always has 10, 20 year cycles. So it's just like, you know, you'll hear basically an exact reflection of what happened 20 years ago. It's just because of how things go, you know. It's like the 80s, everything that was in the early 80s, like, sorry, you look at the 60s, you've got ska, you know, like from the islands, yeah. And then 20 years later, you got ska revival, you know, a bunch of English bands doing the same tunes again, you know what I mean, like reggae covers, but then breathing new life into them. 20 years later, you got, you know what I mean, like 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 most of the British pop music has a reggae beat. Like, you know what I mean. And fast forward 20 years later, you know what I mean, it's like everything in the world is trap, like, you know, like
I'm going to say something that some people that are watching this will probably get pissed off at, but I don't care. I remember walking past, you remember Dixon's and Curry's and all those shops,
yeah, yeah,
right? So I'm walking past Dixon's in Lewisham and I see every TV monitor, every TV that is in the shop window, there's about 15, 20 of them. And every one of them had Mary J. Blige on there, right? And I like Mary J. Blige. I thought she was cool, right? Or I liked a couple of the songs that she did in the early days. But what annoyed me personally, right, because this is me being a purist, was at the bottom it said Mary J. Blige, hip hop artist. And I thought, what? Like, to me, hip hop was Public Enemy, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Ultramagnetic MCs, you know? So to me, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. It baffled me.
yeah. I think again, it's people just coining, trying to put boxes on people again, innit?
I could definitely speak on that. I could definitely speak on that just because, like, for me, like, I feel like um, I'm in the part of my career where I'm finally starting to get people to see the more musical side of me.
Hmm.
and it's like I've had songs like before Sam Cooke, I'm singing like the first song on my first album, Yancey was. I'm
In it.
singing. It's
Yeah,
timeless,
yeah,
like you know
yeah,
what I mean. So
yeah.
it's like, but it feels like it wasn't really the Sam Cooke that people really like. Oh shit, he sings and all this stuff. And then obviously like I've had like salute to my vocal coach. Like I worked with her for 4 years. Like before that, so it's like she really helped me to really fine tune my voice. But like again, even then, it's just like the type of music I've been making, because of, obviously the legacy I come from, and then again, it's just what it is. If you dress a certain way, it's like automatically rapper. But it's like like not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I sing up there with a lot of the good singers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you rap, but it's also you also produce, you also write songs, you also sing.
How important was fashion or is fashion to you within what you do? Like even as a group together, which I obviously want to find out
Honest,
about how you guys got together, whose idea it was, all of that stuff.
So that's really interesting. That's a really interesting question. It ties right into the Cadillacs, right? So it is very important
Yeah,
because it's like it's one of those things like, and honestly, like not even until recently, like I'm not even gonna joke, not even until recently. So we already had to look for the Cadillacs, right? Because this is a perfect way to start how we start working. So like when we made the EP, like I said,
Do
we
you want do
wasn't
you want to
forcing it. It
name?
was
Do you
just
want to mention the EP name so everybody knows it?
yeah, so off days in London, we just dropped it. This is basically me and Ash's first collaboration before we became a band. So it's like this one is special, it's limited. This is the only record before the Cadillacs. After this is gonna be Jaywalk and The Cadillacs. So it's like,
that's right.
And that's on BBE, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
yes,
right.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
on BBE.
So yeah, carry on with the fashion thing.
Through the EP, we became a band in the sense of like we had the EP. We make some. That's crazy. We didn't even try. We made some shit, and then I came back again. We made four more songs. Okay, yeah, we onto something.
Yeah,
Then I send it to Kareem. Kareem is like, "Yo, this is crazy." And then Kareem Riggins, shout out to Kareem Riggins, sends us a bunch of drums. Ash goes ham on some of them before I even come out on tour. We finish the album, and then uh, shout out to Eleanor. She says, "Y'all need a name."
yeah, for real.
Cause we were just going Illa J and Ash, and it was like, yeah, we do need a name. And then we started with put our names together, Jaywalk, and then it was like,
Yeah,
no, I need some more. And then we were kind of influenced by like the old school kind of like Temptations and stuff like that, and
yeah.
we just kind of came up Jaywalk and the cat. It just stuck, you
It
know what I
just
mean? And
stuck in it.
and then the look is a part of that though. That's the thing though. So it's like we already had the look in mind. So but before the release party Ash was like, "Yo," because he had already started collecting suits. Like this was like months before. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just in
planning that
preparation.
shit in it.
And he's like, "Yo, man, we gotta wear suits at the release party." Now, now I'm telling you about my how it changed my mind. So before this, I'm like, maybe I'm like in the sense of like for myself, yeah, maybe whatever. Like it's whatever. Like I've been kind of dressing basically like myself, just at shows and stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like what I would normally wear. But then just a few weeks ago, I'm saying, changed my whole perspective on it. Even when I just stepped into the suit, I go on to perform. I don't know, it just changed the whole perspective. It gave me a whole vibe, and then it's like, yeah, I'm going to work right now. You know what I mean? It's like it's a different feeling. And again,
yeah,
like it's because at the end of the day, you creating the whole ambience and vibe. And again, shout out to Maceo from De La Soul. He's told me this a
yeah.
million times before, and I'm just getting it now. He was like, because he saw me perform before, he saw me singing and playing keys, and he was like, "Yo, I see what you're doing, but like you got to bring that ambience, man. You should be wearing a suit up there." You know what I mean? And I didn't get it until that moment at the release party. It was like we walked out, and you could just already feel because people already it's just what it is. It's what you know what I mean. It's a part of what you see, and it's like, oh shit, they serious. They come here to perform. This is not just a release party. Like
It's a
they
show in
here
it.
to
Yeah,
this is a show tonight. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah, yeah.
it makes a difference if it makes a difference. You know what I mean? Because you just showing yo, wow, this is serious business to me. Like, and again, I'm not saying that you can't give a amazing performance. Like some people are just it works for some people, but I feel like certain vibes. Like I personally like it. Honestly, it's kind of dope to step into a character and performance. And again, for me, it's a whole different thing because it's like it's a whole new chapter for me in my career where I get the chance to redefine myself as a in as far as like as a musician. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of people don't really make an effort with the way they look, the way they present themselves, you know. And for me, when I was growing up, say I like somebody like Otis Redding
Yeah.
or LL Cool J or whatever,
Hmm.
I wanted to be those guys. Now,
Hmm.
it's like if I like their music so much, then I wouldn't care what they look like. I would just want to be like them, right? But then there was that other side where, the presentation, the record covers, the way they dress, the way they comb their hair, the caps they wear, the Kangos, the whatever, that makes you kind of go into that and go, right, I want to be like this guy. For me personally, I didn't care about the fashion. And maybe that was one of my mistakes, because if I'd made an effort to look a certain way, maybe my career would have gone further than it did. It went far enough, but maybe it could have gone stratospheric.
I totally hear you, man. And again, touching on what John said about the suits and the thing. I mean, so we're both. I think I know I'm super fashion conscious in general. Do you know what I mean? And so I think John's probably on a similar vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like having grown up in the time that we grew up, like because obviously we're basically the same age, so it's like we're kind of the same kind of, yeah, we're in the same sort of thinking. We're both very fashion conscious, but then again, I always have my look, which is how I look, and then John always has his look, which is his look. Like which is we're similar in some styles, and then a little bit different in others. But then when it comes to like the Cadillacs, the Jaywalk and the Cadillacs project, we're just like we have to be 100% turned out at all times when we're as performing as Jaywalk and the Cadillacs or appearing as Jaywalk and the Cadillacs, because it's like how they would have done it in Motown or all the old soul labels back in the day. It's like you wouldn't have dreamed of turning up without your hair being done to perfection, like especially as a brother, you know what I mean, in society, you know what I mean. It's like your parents always tell you, you know what I mean. It's like you've got to work twice as hard, three times as hard, four times as hard in the world that we're in.
So you've got the look. Do you also come onto stage and do choreographed dance routines like the Supremes, the Drifters?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got a couple of routines down, but we're trying to get some more.
How did the group come about?
Just literally just by me and John just having a constant need to make more and more music, because it'd be like we make another one. It's like that song's hard. We need to make another tune, or like he'll have a beat or I'll have a beat, and it'd be like, oh, let's build that. So it literally came about from Daryl putting
Yeah,
us
literally.
together
Yeah, salute to Daryl,
and then and
man.
then snowballed because both of our like partners were just like, you guys need a name, you guys need to be a band. Like,
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
it's
When
like
I played the music for my wife, she's like, this is it, John.
So both of you being producers, is there ever a clash of ideas? Like, nah, I don't like that. Take that out.
This
never.
has been the most effortless. It's
Perfectly
no
valid.
ego, no like.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just like
yeah,
I start something, I send it to him. He might change some drums, send it back to me. I play something.
Yeah.
Plays to him. He changed
yeah,
a note. We
yeah,
just back and forth. It's. I
yeah.
swear, it's like effortless. Like we just like because I come from basketball, so I see it like two people that play really well together.
It's teamwork,
I
man.
know it. We just know where we gonna be, and it's easy, man.
Yeah,
That's what honestly inspired it. It's like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be in a band, this is it, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah.
really easy, you know what I mean?
For me, that's really refreshing to hear, because I know so many people that are in groups and whatever, but there's always a clash. There's too many egos involved and all that kind of stuff, especially when you're
Yeah,
operating on the levels that you're operating, where
yeah.
the value of what you do is so important, and you can hold it so precious to the point where
Mm.
you don't want to part with any of your idea to somebody else.
Usually groups, they start out as a group, and what happens is you have creatives who, again, we all creatives, we have all type of stuff we want to create, and what happened, they feel trapped in the group and they never get a chance to get that creativity. So I feel like what's dope about me and Ash is like we already have solo careers that we can, you know what I mean, that we happy with. So like we've already explored what we can do creatively on our own. So it's like it's actually different going into a group now because we've already experienced. Like I've done so much solo stuff, and again, it's like, and it's fun being solo, like in certain ways, but at the same time, in my career, the most fun I've ever had is always being in groups. Like I was in Slum for a short period of time. I was touring with Slum, and it was a great time. Like I enjoyed the writing process. I enjoyed touring together. It's just a better. It's just so much better as a team when you know being a part of a team.
I was doing promo CDs for Jakarta Records, and I done your promos for Home.
Oh wow,
But I
that's
also
crazy.
I also remember doing some promos for Yancey Boys. We have a connection there. So Jakarta Records, how did that happen?
So like my advice early in my career from Salute to Black Thought was just stay independent. That's it. It was like it wasn't even like any complex advice. He just said stay independent. You know, that's it. So like I've pretty much did one offs like my whole career. So it's like yeah, I've worked with labels and like I have good relationships with them. But like I've been blessed to be able to not be like I don't necessarily have to be signed for multiple albums, though I will say, you know what I mean, like we have a good working relationship with BBE. This probably the most integrated I've ever been with a label. Like nothing against any other labels I work with, but I just you know they 100% respect our creativity and like that's so important. And I just feel like they just really get our vibes. But like yeah, it was dope. Jakarta was dope because that project Home, it's just what it is, man. That project was the like after that album, I start touring on my own for the first time. Every time I toured before, I was always opening for someone or on tour with other people. So, Home was the first album I actually toured. Like I was able to start solo touring. You know what I mean, doing my own tour. So yeah, definitely salute to Jakarta. They got me linked with. I mean, you see, I got a Carhartt hat on all the time. That link was through that was through Jakarta. But again, that's what I'm saying. It's like the solo. It's just crazy how that solo journey led through to where we at now with Jaywalk and The Cadillacs. Like I literally like when when I got the Ashes, I was like, yeah, after this tour, because I was touring for No Traffic at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably get back, work on my solo record when I get back. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
we had just
yeah,
done the EP, like the EP was so good, and that's what I'm saying. And it was one of those things that was kind. It's not that we didn't try, but it was more like that was just like a few days, like we didn't even really think about it. So it's like, dang, we can make. And like I said, we just kept making more music, so it's like I never had to make
yeah,
another solo. So
yeah,
it's just kind of
yeah,
dope how it led into that, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, it's like.
Do you know off the top of your head how many singles and albums you got out there and EPs?
Between us,
Uh,
probably about 100.
yeah, literally, yeah.
Okay, so Ash, you first. How many albums you got? How many EPs you got? How many singles you got?
I
And
gotta
are they
look.
all vinyl or are they digital?
Yeah, most of my stuff. I mean, I have more stuff out vinyl than even is digital because there's a bunch of singles that I've had out that were only vinyl, that weren't digital, like for a while. Um, and then there's a bunch of work that I've done for other people. So I mean, maybe somewhere in the region of like 10.
How many albums you got? Is it four?
4 albums of Ash Walker, yeah.
What's been the most successful for you?
The thing is, like, Aquamarine did pretty well in a strange time, and it was a time before COVID and everything. So that done strangely well. But then Astronaut, I suppose, is the album that I'm most proud of.
Yeah, I
So
watched
yeah,
your little story on YouTube on that, the 4 minute
cool.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched that. That was nice.
Oh, I love, man. Oh, thanks, man. I was actually in a Thunderbird, actually, funny enough, in that.
That's crazy. Oh man, I gotta go back and check it
Yeah,
again.
it was a 63 T-Bird.
Woo.
You had an album that was ready to go, and then the pandemic obviously messed everything up.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It did and it didn't, like, because it's like it kind of put a break on me having to put the album out that year. And then I had a couple of other things that I did, like I had like a cover that I was asked to do with like the scientist and like a few other people. So like that kind of led me down a different rabbit hole that year. But then it also allowed me to sort of like reach out to some more features for that album for Astronaut and sort of make it the best I could possibly make it. So I'm in retrospect, I'm grateful that I had that time to sort of to work on it a bit more, and it was because of that I was grateful to get to sort of, like lucky enough to be able to work with Amp, like rest in peace Amp, obviously. who's been a big influence in both mine and John's life, you know. So like, I think the timing of all that happening was, I think it was, yeah, it worked out. It worked out for a reason in the end. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, album I'm most proud of, definitely Astronaut. Album probably did the best is probably Aquamarine.
Take yourself back to before you hooked up with Illa J. When you're recording, do you ever kind of watch the clock and watch what's going on in the clubs and the radio and try and kind of capture what you're doing so that it can get some kind of promotion in those kind of environments?
No, I don't care. Maybe that's why I haven't. Maybe that's why I'm on the journey that I'm on. Just because it's never been something that's like really bothered me too much. I kind of take more of my inspiration from what's going on in my life and like things that I'm surrounded by and people that I'm with and nature and the music that I'm soaking up basically. Two secs, guys. 2 secs. Someone's at my door.
So, Illa J, I'm going to switch over to you. Same question to you. Do you ever kind of watch what's going on in the world and try and kind of create work to kind of fit in with what's going on, or you don't care?
I don't really care. Like honestly, most of because for me, creativity is in the moment. So like even writing, like I've been since I started writing, I learned to write on the spot. So like pretty much I could write a song in 20, 30. Like that's not because like when I shout out to Frank and Dank. So that was my brother's crew. When I first started in the studio at boot camp, they would have me come out to Toronto. Uh, they would get the beat ready. Okay, they go on 30 minutes. When they come back 30 minutes, I got a song ready in the concept. So I'm used to writing at that pace. But then also because I'm used to writing at that pace, I don't like to. I rather record on the moment in the spot. Like I can do vocals over the internet or whatever, but just in the moment is better. So all that said, when it comes to making projects, you know what I mean, it's usually inspired by whatever's happening in that moment. In the sense of like
Mm.
wherever I'm at musically, you get to a point where it's like, oh, I'm making some like my last solo album. There was supposed to be an instrumental album actually with my homie, and then I just got on the road and I'm like, wait, I want to start rapping to these beats. And
Yeah,
that's kind of how
yeah,
it happens. Sometimes you just have that when you know you have something. You making music, and you like, wait, this is a project. And I feel like, I mean, at least for me, that's how it is most of the time. It's just more like you just know when the music is like when it needs to be heard.
yeah. It's that, innit?
What comes first to you? The idea for the concept, the lyrics, the you start putting something together, and then the concepts kind of start hitting you. The ideas start hitting you. Are you about the lyrical content, or are you about the vibe?
It can be every way, man. It could be every way. You know what I mean? It can be completely every way. Like, you know, like Rain off this new project. We made the beat in the studio. We had some studio time, and then we made the beat in the studio. And then John had to go pick up his dry clean, and it was raining outside. And he was like, "Man, I'm just going to take the beat with me. I'm just going to try and see if I can conjure anything up." And then this is how he wrote one of the like potentially one of the best songs on the album. You know what I mean? Like it says, it can be any which way. And then that beat
Yeah.
didn't even exist the day before because it was literally just some drums. It was just a drum beat. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
now even that. Now you know what's funny? We can stay on that same song. So how Rain started. So we were already done. We had a super dope pianist come in and play that day, and we just done. We just chilling. Ash is working on something like we got maybe an hour or so left. I'm just practicing in the piano room, and Ash comes in the door like, "Yo, we have to record that immediately." So I'm just playing that. I'm playing that loop I get, and then he's just kind of taking different Kareem drums, like, "Ooh, these are the ones." And then he layered those drums under there perfect, and then we start adding on top of it. But it's like that was like actually random too. Like it literally was
Yeah,
just like I'm just messing around with some chords that I like playing or whatever, and then he like, "Yo, we have to record that." And but again, it could, like you said, anyway.
anyway. Guys, I've got a I'm teaching now in it, so I'm probably gonna have to split. I got my,
Word,
my
word.
student here in it, like but yeah, I'm sure John will be able to take over the reins if there's any other questions to rep, man.
Okay. Yeah,
Word,
no
word,
worries.
man.
Thanks a lot for joining us, bro.
No, I love, man, and yeah. Thanks for having me as well, man. Honestly, been a pleasure meeting you, and yeah, been a pleasure chatting.
Yeah, and likewise. Bro, what I wanted to ask yourself, which I think is like for me is an important question. Obviously, because of your connection with your brother, your family
Yeah,
being all musical background, everything. And I guess I know the reason why I'm asking this is because I know other people that have been in similar situations where they've had famous family members and whatever. And it's been something that's overshadowed them. And like some of these people, even though they've been maybe even more talented than their famous family members and whatever, they've felt like they're getting blocked because that fame that was there was kind of a hindrance to people even acknowledging that these guys were good at what they did. So how do you fit into that?
I mean, you kind of like everything you're saying is accurate. I've kind of been through everything that you kind of said, so it's like, um, it's one of those things where like I always joke about this all the time. I'm like, I can guarantee it. I can make one of my fire beats, and I'll just leak it somewhere and say it's a Dilla beat, and everyone will go crazy because it's the name is to a point where you know it's like humans we name shit and then once that name is that it's like it's hard for us to like just so like you know what I mean it's like once something's connected to something it's like we can't I don't know it's just it's a thing you know what I mean so it's just like but like I've realized that but then at the same time though like um it's just it's a tricky line for me you know what I mean it's like where it could look like it benefits me for some people. They could think it benefits me because they might see me play a big Dilla tribute or you know what I mean. And there's other big artists there, but they don't realize for me like if I'm doing like again it could be the biggest Dilla tribute ever. You know what I mean? Like I just did Michigan Central. You know what I mean? It was an honor to play that. Diana Ross was on the show. Big Sean was on the show. It was a big show, and again, it was a great opportunity for me. I had to be have my name out there. My name was on the bill, right? But realistically, I'm playing a 9 minute. It's a Dilla set, so we play Didn't You Know? We play Slum Village, two Slum Village songs, then we play The Light, right? So yeah, I'm on the stage, I'm on TV, I'm on the big stage, yeah. Diana Ross was on there, all these different people was on there, yeah. But I'm up there playing my brother's songs, you know what I mean? So in one way, it looks like, oh, he gets this big opportunity. But yeah, but that opportunity doesn't really help my career. It just puts my name in a certain place. But again, we're talking America, right? So in America, that's the only place, and this is real talk. Like I've most of the gigs I've done there, and I could look in the last 5 years, it's like all something to do with my brother. But then, you know, again, we talking about this Michigan Central show, which again I'm honored to be a part of, to have been a part of. This was earlier this year, but coming to that show, I just came off of a full tour of Europe, like on my own, with none of my brother's music. And that's the crazy part to me. Like everywhere else around the world, I'm touring, doing shows off my own music. So it's only the place where I'm from, the United States, where I only get booked for a Dilla tribute or something like that, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? When it's like I've had such a long career, and it's like, but I'm still. It's like they only think of me as just it's just Dilla's brother in the States. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, definitely certain markets where it's like but at the same time, I just look at the positive in the sense of like, well, well, whatever. I won't do any shows there. You know what I mean? And I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of turning them down. You know what I mean? Because it's just, it's like it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It's like someone might have their idea, and I want you to be there for this show because it's special to me, and that's cool. But it's like it does nothing for my career. And at the end of the day, like it's my brother, so it's like I don't necessarily want to be like you know what I mean? Like I'd rather celebrate him in my own way. That's my because that's my brother. It's not just a musician to me that was a great producer. It's just my older brother that I love. You know what I mean? So it's definitely it's so many weird gray areas, and I feel like it's a thing that I don't think people know how to be sensitive to a lot of times because it's like you know what I mean? This is like you literally like I've had almost 18-year career. Like I've put out more solo albums than my brother. Like I'm writing and singing and doing. I'm just doing all kind of stuff. Like I produce my own album. I don't work with all the labels he's worked with, and everything. You know what I mean? Like I said, like as long as he's passed away, my career is actually that long. You know what I mean? And it's crazy to me that even still now we've made it this far. Like it's 18 years now, and it's as if like I have to make room to celebrate my own career because I don't get a chance to I don't get a chance to celebrate my own 18-year career that I've had like from starting putting out an album at 21 years old on my legendary Brothers Beats with all of that pressure and still being here to live and tell that and just got off of a tour like I just got off of an Asian tour and I'm doing my own catalog and things so it's just like but at the same time I like I'm thankful to have in the weird way that challenge of I like the challenge. I like the challenge because to me I'm winning. I'm winning because you know what I mean. Like I'm over here because I'm still making music and touring. You know what I mean. So like that's the blessing is that you know people might have wanted to put me in the little Dilla box that they want to put me in, but I've made it to the point where I can successfully do this on my own. So it can be done and it has been done. It's not always it's definitely not easy, you know what I mean, it's the same in sports, but I feel like sports is very objective, you know what I mean, like I can prove to you if I shoot it in the basket enough times you're just going to say okay he's good, music is just weird kind of thing where you know like you could be and I talked about this with my wife the other day. This music is harder than sports because you could be absolutely the best musician, the best rapper, everything, and all of that. And because you're not as famous as that person, they will. It's weird. They listen to it differently. Like you know what I mean? Like I could write the same song with the same vocals and everything, and give it to some artist. They put it under their name. Everyone would think it's amazing. But okay, say take that away. That person never did it. I put out the same exact idea, and they're not sure. But if that person does it, like I mean, again, it happens all the time where people, someone big will take someone else's idea, and people will go crazy over it, even though that person had that same song out. You know what I mean? So a lot of times the music becomes more about like like fame and like I don't know. It's just weird kind of it's definitely a weird industry, but like I'm thankful that I was able to realize and come to see that there is success that exists under this like this mainstream plastic cloud or whatever that is, or like ceiling, whatever that is. I don't know what to call it, but like it's actually real success that exists like out there where people that have real careers and they have fan bases that really appreciate their music, and I'm thankful to be able to find that. You know what I mean? But it's like it's trippy to me that like again like it's only in the states though. That's what I'm saying. It's like I get show offers and every from all around the world. Like I literally tour all around the world except the states. Like the states is the only place where I literally like I could count them. Every show in the last 5 years has been a tribute to my brother or something like that. Like never just me doing a show just to perform some of my music. It's like oh they want me to do my brother's songs. You know what I mean? And again, my brother was a legend. Like, yeah, like he's a legend. Like, but it's like, I still think it's like weird to like because again, it's like I'm doing festivals and all kinds of stuff everywhere. So it's like, why is it only in the States? But again, if you look at the stars in the States now, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like more than any other country, it's just like our mainstream. It just takes over everything. So it's just like whoever it's Drake and Kendrick and nobody else kind of vibe. Like, what I mean, I feel like that's and if it's the female rappers, it's Cardi B and Glorilla and nobody else. It's like even though it's like it's tons of talented artists all around the world that make great music that it's just what it is. They'll never see the light of day. But again, especially you connect someone to someone. It's just like the weirdest thing, you know. It's like,
I'm not a fan of the music industry because of the way they do things, and I'm also not a fan of the way the all right, look, the way the world I see, um, if we behaved in the way we behave now to how we see artists, I personally believe people like Run DMC, LL Cool J, all those people wouldn't be where they are.
yep, yep, that's
Like,
it. Yeah,
because what
yeah, yeah.
what people are saying, if I don't know you, I'm not paying attention. So how are you supposed to get to know somebody if you're not paying
That's it.
attention? When you're speaking, I'm hearing someone who pretty much almost wants to break ties with his brother's connection because he's trying to basically get a fair shot for himself.
I just want a fair shot to be a musician, to be a dope musician.
When I'm hearing you talk, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing someone who's, it's almost like, yeah, this was a burden. This is a bit of a
Yeah,
curse to you. But it's also been a blessing in some ways.
it's a blessing and a curse. It's like the weirdest things, the weirdest things.
Imagine my channel has 10 million subscribers and you're going to get 2 billion views. A lot of the musical world is going to be watching what I'm saying, and this is the biggest channel out there. What would you want to say to people to allow you to break from your brother's connection so that you can have your path clear to be you and get a fair shot at achieving your own success?
That's the part that sucks because it's like, why do I have to break the connection with my brother for people to see me for who I am? It's my brother, and
The
he's an
problem is
amazing
not you, bro.
musician.
The problem is the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. To me, that's the weird problem is that it's it's like, why can't it be two talented brothers? Why can't it be like, yo, one brother was this amazing music producer who greatly influenced hip hop and neo soul, and here's this younger talented brother who's an amazing songwriter and singer and rapper. That's it. Like, it don't have to. I don't have to split ties with my brother to. It's more of a like. It's a problem with how people look at things and comparing and comparing in a very non-fair way. It's like you're comparing me to a literal legend. I start out my career already like, so you're saying when he started at 19 he was already Dilla. No, he wasn't Dilla
He
yet.
wasn't.
No.
And
You
if
you
I'm
know
if
what I'm
I'm
saying?
honest, bro, if I'm honest, I know a lot of people that used to listen to his records and stuff, but they just saw him as another producer. It was like he's a producer. But when he died, all of a sudden they're all the biggest fans.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and again, like, he's an amazing producer, and the way he did it was genius, and he was able to continually progress with his sound. You know what I mean? But I think where it goes out of hand is that it's almost like other dope producers don't exist during that time, in the sense of like, it happens in sports too, where it's just like when you have a LeBron or someone like that, and it's all these other great players that start to get forgotten about. You know what I mean? And again, it's part of the media. It's like it's like we have the big story, and everyone's going to tag along and write for the big story, even though it's almost like lazy journalism. It's like it's so much dope things that we could talk about from this one scene, but everybody's going to pick the one thing, the exact talk about. You know what I mean? It's like,
Not only pick the one thing, but for so many years, they've all been stuck on that one thing. Well, are you trying to tell us that other dope producers haven't come along? Because I can name other dope producers now. Do you understand?
but
So,
that's what I'm saying. And again, like, it's if I say it, then it's like I'm a hater because I'm the younger brother that's trying to get. And it's completely not that. It's
right,
not
I'll
that at
tell you
all.
now, if you said it, people will see you as the jealous younger brother.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Right. So what I'm saying is be tactical about this and explain to people on camera right now what you would like to happen for you to get a fair shot. Because I feel like you've been at this for a long time, but every time I read an interview or see something, it's almost like there's this shadow hanging over you as well. Like, stop asking me about what trainers my brother was wearing. Stop asking me about, do you understand? Like, you want your space to do what you need to do because you've got your story, and you're not going to get a career out of this if all you're going to do is ask me about my brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So what would you say?
I mean, for me, I would say, like, I have a proven catalog and history that people just overlook. If you really just look and actually go and see, you can see my progression. Like and then this is coming from someone who had a legend as a brother. So like like I said, it's looked at as easier, but like I actually had the exact opposite path because from the very beginning, I'm already being judged compared to a legend. Like imagine being like you're a rookie compared to someone who's already literally had a whole career and has produced for Janet Jackson. I'm just starting out. Like how is that a fair comparison at all? You know what I mean? It's not fair. You know what I mean? So it's just like and for me to actually be able to overcome that and still release. And again, people could say, "Oh, this is his brother," but like the only projects with my brother's tracks on it is my first album. And again, I didn't go into the label and say, "Hey, I want to do an album with my brother's tracks." It's like no, like they came to me because I was the qualified artist at that time. He had these tracks for years. You know what I mean? Like when I met Mike Ross to get my first record deal. You know what I mean? I got my first record deal because I was able to sit at the keys and play a song. I played him a song that I wrote from scratch. That's how I got my first deal. Like had nothing to do with rap. You know what I mean? Like he signed me as a songwriter that could rap. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. So for me to overcome that, and again, like I have access to Dilla beats, these beats that everyone try to get access to, and yet if you look at all my projects, I'm working with other producers and producing myself. So it's like, like I've truly proven that I'm an artist on my own in my own right. You know what I mean? So it's just like I feel like, you know, my track record is there. It's just more like, you know, it's up to y'all. I can't force people to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I feel like I'm at a point where I've got a grasp on the like my sound, and I don't feel like I'm gonna have to ask people to come around. If anything, it'll be more like it'll be just people like, damn, why I've been sleeping on him so long. I think it's gonna be more of that, and that's how I choose to see it because it's like I don't want someone's attention that's only like you know what I mean. If I gotta convince you that I'm dope, then I don't really want you. I don't, you know what I mean. Like I don't care for you to listen to my shit anyway because like I have fans that really appreciate my music as soon as the first sound drops from the record, as soon as I get into the verse, as soon as the hooks come, like you know what I mean. So it's like I'm confident enough in my own legacy that like you know what I mean. Like it will shine through. I shouldn't have to ask anyone. So like I said I have a catalog already, like you know what I mean, starting from 2008. You know what I mean, and I've worked with Robert Glasper, all kind of people. I can say names and shit, but like, how many artists do you know who can uh make a beat from scratch, who can write to that song and finish that song and then in a 2 3 hour session and then do that consistently and make dope stuff and I'm not using auto tune and I can play an instrument and I can hear if a note is off or not. Like I can actually sing, like you know what I mean. So it's like I know that I'm like I already know how talented I am. You know what I mean. But I also know I live in a world where people are going to see what they want to see, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I feel like any more than he's a hater, but it's like yo man, like will I be like am I taking away from that he's like the greatest at being able to do what he could do with that machine? No, I'm not taking that away. He's produced for Tribe and Janet and made amazing hits for De La Soul. That's what I'm saying. So it's just like his legacy is spoken for, you know what I mean? But again, this was for the people when like, you know what I mean? It's like it's up to you if you see how dope I am. If not, it's all good, man. We got have some beautiful fans all around the world that come to our concerts, and I'm so thankful. And like I said, this Jaywalk and the Cadillacs project is coming together. You can come and join the experience or not, and it still will be all good. But
But don't
you
expect
just gonna
any
be
J Dilla music to be played on those tours, right?
yeah, no. I mean, we that's the thing. We like I haven't like I have enough music on my own already. Even before the band that I'm in, like you know what I mean. Like I every album is. other producers. Like shout out to Calvin Valentine, shout out to Potato Head people. Like I produced some albums myself. I done wrote the 2 albums with Harley Blue. Got an EP with Ash. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. But honestly, like I think that's just you know people would just start to. And again, I get it. It takes time for people sometimes, but I feel like it'll be a thing like that where just people will see over time.
Right? The sad thing for me is that a lot of these people didn't even have an attachment to any of that, but they built an attachment from him passing, and then suddenly they don't want to let go and they want to be stuck in nostalgia mode, but they're forgetting that the future is coming too.
Yep, yep, that's it.
Like for me, one of my favorite beats is Breathe and Stop. That's it. It's one of those beats I wish I did. There's a UK producer here by the name of DJ Napper, and he's an incredible producer. But because of politics and stuff, he's never going to get the look in that he deserves. But I'm just saying, there's politics involved. There's always politics involved.
It's always that. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Obviously, you must have been sat in the room where you must have seen people like Common and whoever else walking through. Did you build connections with them where you can potentially go, yo, Common?
Well, that's the thing. Like I pride myself on like I've built my own connection of my own friends and people that I like to collaborate with. You know what I mean? Like those are my brother's friends, and that's how I look at it like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a few of them that are actually cool, that are actually fam, and then some of them are just my brother's friends. So I don't really have a connection with them like that. Like it's more of a it's out of sight, out of mind. If I see you, yo, what's up, man? Love to you, bro. But if I don't see them, they're not checking on me, and like, what I mean, they might say, "Well, I love James so much," but like, I don't get calls from people like, "Yo, man, how you doing, LJ?" It's only a few people that's really like that with it. You know what I mean? But like, but again, it's a blessing to me because I was able to build my own family and connections. You know what I mean? Like people like Calvin Valentine, people like Ash Walker, people like Harley Blue, Potato Head people. Like I have my own connection of network of super talented musicians, and I'm proud of the people I work with. Like what I mean, and they all respect me. I respect them, and to me, that's what you want. Like I don't want to work with people that only see me as a like a certain thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I'm working with you because you're Dilla's brother. You know what I mean? Like Robert Glasper is the only person, like really, like damn near the only person to really reach out and work with me on some. I got respect for you, for you. You know what I mean? Like obviously he loves my bro, but he has respect for me as an artist. That's why, like, if it comes to some tribute stuff, I'll do it with Rob. You know what I mean? Robert Glasper, that's different. You know what I mean? Because like that's what I'm saying. Like it's a different respect there. You know what I mean? But it's like for most peeps, it's just like they just want to use me as a pawn in a sense of like, okay, I want this to feel more Dilla like. Let's get Dilla J. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like so. It's like, but otherwise, I like like honestly, like I have, like I said, like it's been a blessing to be able to build my own path. You know what I mean? I know this what my brother would have wanted for me because that's the thing. Imagine I get caught up in that, and I'm only tied to all these people. You know what I mean? Like I felt it when I was in Slum. That's why that was the only reason I left Slum. I loved being in Slum. Like it was fun. I loved touring with them. Like I loved the music.
How long were you with Slum?
So I was only with them for about 3 years. I did the album. I was on the album Evolution, and I was also a part of their mixtape series, Dirty Slum. So,
So do you want to just clarify how involved you were with Slum?
so I was super involved. Like I was in the era where pretty much Elzai was leaving the group. So I started touring with them. When I started touring with them, Elzai was on the first two or three shows, and then there was no, it was a whole split, and it was a drama thing. It was a radio. It was a whole drama thing where Elzai left the group. So, you know, um, I started touring with them, and then I was essentially only there to tour with them, and then Young RJ was producing my solo record, and then I just kind of kept touring with them, and then we started Dirty Slum. So it was some mixtapes that it was like the Dirty Slum series. It was me, T3, and it was like rapper Big Pooh, Focus, super dope producer from out in Cali who works with Dre and all these different people.
Was Batten, he passed away by this time, right?
Botan had passed away too at around that time exactly. So yeah, so we just make it was like more mixtape vibes, and then we were touring, and then we did the album Evolution. So technically it's on the album Evolution. I'm all over that album, and then the album Yes Yes, because basically I technically left the next album. So because I recorded the album Evolution, and then we had already recorded the album Yes Yes, and then after that, that was when I split because at the time I had two albums out in the same year. I had a group with Frank Nitt called Yancey Boys, where we put out where we put out Sunset Boulevard on Delicious Vinyl.
I did those promos as well, so I remember that.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. So that album was the same year as Slum Village Evolution, and at the time, I remember being in Japan, and that's when I made the decision. Because at the time it was just too much divide, and I felt like if I didn't make a move then, I would be stuck in that world forever. You know what I mean? And that was the best decision I could have made. After that album, after Evolution, I started working with Potato Head people. I made my album, my self-titled album, Illusion, and during that time, a year after that, I met Calvin Valentine. I made the album Home, and the rest is history. But you get what I'm saying? But there was a moment where I felt like I could have been trapped in it if I didn't make a move at that time. You know what I mean? But I made the move in the right time to set myself up to where like I have a that's what I'm saying. Like I'm like it's hard not to tour right now. Like you know what I mean? So it's like this it's a good thing. Like I was able to build my own connections and but if I didn't do that, it'd be a different story. You know what I mean? But like again, like I was able to link with some really dope producers and ironically, it's in the weirdest way still connected through my bro because, but in a different light, in a sense of like, shout out to Frank from Frank and Dank. Frank um, was like always been like a mentor to me, and it was when I met Calvin Valentine before I met Home. Well, actually, basically both of those projects. So when I left Slum, I was moving to Montreal, and Frank was like, "Yo, by the way, Nick Wisdom lives out there. That's from Potato people." So I just happened to link with him out, and I linked with him and K Sonata, and then I did my album Illusion, and then uh, Frank was out in Portland. He was living there for a little bit. He was like, "Yo, man, I met this dope producer, Calvin Valentine. Man, maybe y'all should work together." Year later, me and Calvin work, and then we make Home. And you know what I mean? Like I said, like I've been blessed in these weird situations where it's like, because to me, it's like it's the situations where they try to pinpoint me into some Dilla stuff. That's not my brother. That's people trying to live off of my bro, right? But
This is
then,
why I said earlier the problem is not you, it's not even your family. The problem is what the rest of the world have been fed and whatever
yeah,
they want
yeah,
to see it as. You can't control what everyone
you
else
can't
sees it
control
as.
that.
All you
Yep, yep,
can
that's
really
it.
do is just go and make the right kind of noises in the hope that one day they'll see you for who you are.
Yeah, but that's the blessing, honestly, of having this band with Ash. Like, you know what I mean? And it's already happening. Like, we got a new booking agency, and like we'll start touring next year. And honestly, like that's the blessing about the band is like, because again, it's like as an artist, like the one thing that I will say is like I don't regret any of it. Like I'm thankful for the whole journey. You know what I mean? Even the hard parts because it led me on this path to where I am now. And it's just like I wish I'd known though back then. I'm like, dang, I would have. I was always supposed to be in the band. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like that's like I've never been more happier making music. It's just fun having a teammate where you can bounce ideas back and forth off of and again like a band that's my own thing that's not connected to anything. It's not this is my brother's band or this is like you know what I mean. This is my own thing and it happened naturally and organically and I can I can produce it, I can write it, and I can sing in it, and it's 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 produced by Jaywalk and The Cadillacs. Me and Ash are not these like. I did specifically this part. I did this, like we a band. You know what I mean? We make it together. You know what I mean? And it just it's just a lot closer to basketball to me. I come from a team mindset from playing basketball, and I just like that vibe. And it and it's also a dope way to like be in my because now when I'm having interviews and I'm with Ash and shit, it's easy to make it about the band.
Right. I
You
was
know what
just
I
about to
mean?
say that. Now you've got a group name. It it kind of moves you away from the connection and it gives you your own identity in a different way
Exactly.
now. So that's
Yep,
that's
yep,
good.
that's it. Yeah, yeah, it's a blessing, man. Honestly, I'm so thankful that Daryl put us together. It was like it wasn't planned. That's what's so crazy. It was not planned. We just clicked, and I'm saying like when we clicked, I'm not talking about just the music. Like I'm a very picky dude with food. You know what I mean? And this is the first day. You know what I mean? We just ordered the food, and then like we both got the same like stuff we picky about. Is like when we ordering food, we ordering the same food. Like even the suits, like he had a suit, like it just fit me perfectly. Like it's literally like I'm not even joking. Like this is not one of those things where it's a random collab. It's like no, man. I actually found like a soul brother from just another. She just happened to be in the UK. Like it's my bro though. Like you know what I mean. And we just musically speak to each other. It's just easy, man. Like honestly, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to find that.
Do you mind if I just do a quick shout out
Oh yeah, yeah. Word, word, word.
for anybody out there who knows THTC? You know this already. All right, get rich or try sharing. The brand has been going for so many years. Has been sponsoring so many of the hip hop acts that have even from America that have been coming through and stuff like that. So, yo, if you don't know about THTC, go and support them. Go and check them on their website. I can't put the links on this because it's not their interview, but go and check them on their website. Just look for THTC clothing and yeah, just support the cause. These are people that have always been supporting hip hop, always. Like a lot of the UK hip hop acts are wearing their clothes from 20 odd years ago. So yeah, make sure you go and support them. All right. So that's, yeah, get rich or try sharing. I love that statement.
That's dope.
When you come to the UK next, I want to battle you to a bowling match, bro.
Oh, okay, okay, word. Okay, that's not. Hey, I'm with it, man. That sounds like a plan. I gotta start practicing now.
No, no, no,
Then.
you don't. Seriously, trust me, I'm shit. Right? but but the reason why I want to do that is I'm gonna bring my cameraman down if possible, and he's gonna film you completely embarrassing me, right? And I want to be embarrassed on camera, and I'm gonna put it all over my social media that I'm completely shit at bowling, but I'm still gonna battle you. I don't care.
Word.
In
Hey,
my
I'm with
deluded
it. I'm
mind, I'm
with it.
better than you. So yeah, Harley Blue. How did that connection
Harley
happen?
Blue, man. Harley Blue, man. So I mean, it was pretty simple. We both were on colors, and during the time, because it was like you know, it was an early period of colors where when it was first starting, it was really up and coming artists. You know what I mean? Now they just put they put bigger artists, and again, I get it. All platforms grow at a certain point. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, when colors the platform first started, it was a lot of up and coming artists. So me and Harley were both on there. So me and Harley both reached out to each other. We both were fans of each other's performances, so we kind of kept in touch. And then it was around 2019, she came out because she went to a songwriting camp in Nashville, and then she made a stop by LA. So we had our first session together, and it was really just her coming to my crib, and you know what I mean. We just kind of messing around with some ideas, but just from that, that little few hours just vibing together, I knew I'm like, ooh, if we had the actual time, we could do something. So we stayed in touch, and then it was during the pandemic, and me and my wife moved to Vegas from LA. So the first year of the pandemic, obviously you can't do anything. So I'm just at home. We just, you know what I mean? Everybody's just at home, right? And so, but I do remember, I'm like, man, like if I could just get some studio time. So it's like I found like literally on the first try, I found the most amazing studio in Vegas. It's called Hideout Studio. Shout out to that studio. It's an amazing studio. So many people can
Is
record
that
it
why
there.
you named one of your albums Hideout?
Yep, yep, that's it. Yeah, it's named after the studio. Yeah, so amazing studio. Anyway, I recorded my album No Traffic there first. So that was actually No Traffic was recorded before the Harley album. So it just happened to come afterwards. So pretty much I recorded my album No Traffic there. I sent it to Harley. I was like, yo, I found this dope studio. She was like, yo, this is fire. I got to come down there. So she had to deal with some company that was sponsoring her, and she used that money to come down. And she came down to Vegas, and we recorded Hideout. And my wife shot all the videos and the artwork, and that was the beginning of that. And again, from the beginning, me and Harley just like, because I was telling you earlier, like I write songs fast, so I like working with people who can work at the same workflow as me. And again, it's not about rushing. It's just more about if you in the moment you trust when we got that melody, we not messing around with like no, let's focus on this idea and make it big. You know what I mean? And again, she fit right in. I'm making beats on the spot. As soon as I get the drums down and get a little bit of melody, I can hear her humming the hook already. She's already ready to go. Like she is an amazing songwriter, like Harley, and she has such a like her voice cuts through. And like I said, like I don't think that people have really gotten to see her fully. Yeah, it's going to come. Like I said, we working. Me and Ash are actually we're producing her album now, and she wrote two songs. Well, she's featured on one song on our album on the Jaywalk and The Cadillacs album, and she actually wrote one song for me to sing, which is like it's actually my first time singing someone else's lyrics, and she killed it. She killed it. But the relationship with her honestly is just fam. We just literally like it's the same with Ash. Like just from the start. We just like immediately clicked, and it's like fan vibes. And we recorded 11 songs in 10 days, and then she came back out to April because that was November 21, and she came back out in April 22. We shot some more videos, and then we recorded another 10 songs in 10 days, and that's how those two projects happened. And then it those two projects actually gave me the confidence to release my solo album, No Traffic. So, like I give a lot of credit to the Harley Blue projects because me coming out as a producer was a big deal for me because of my brother. So, like I knew people would be really judgy with me, but after releasing the projects with Harley Blue, it helped because it's just what it is. It helped to have someone else on my beats first. If I'm on my beats first, then they're just quicker to judge me. But because like I was able to have Harley Blue on it and we doing a whole nother vibe, it gave me a chance to be confident enough to finally come out as a producer, and that gave me the confidence to release my album No Traffic actually. And a few of the tracks on No Traffic, like basically No Traffic was already finished 2021 before I even started working with Harley Blue. And what happened was uh like my workflow got a little better working with Harley Blue. Because again, that was my first time producing for an artist on the spot in person. So that was a really good. 21 was honestly 21 and 22 was some of the most important studio experience in my life because I'd always been in sessions. I worked in different places, but that was my first time working in the big studio and like for months on end, and it just really trained my ears. Like what I mean, it's so important to hear all of the frequencies.
But was it also because, I mean, you said that that's pretty much when you went completely solo. You were doing your solo productions, then your solo album where there was no other people involved, and your solo tour, all these things, the confidence. Because look, when you're in the shadow of somebody that's got the reputation your brother has, I mean, it must have been scary for you to kind of go, right, I'm going to fuck this. I'm going to go solo. I'm doing this all myself. And I don't care about the restrictions that people put on me. And like Ash was saying earlier in the interview, I'm just going to do Ash, innit?
Yeah, yeah, it took that because again, like home was the first. Again, I go back to the home album because that was the first thing where I was touring on my own. So it started back at home. If anything, the confidence of like, whoa, you know what I mean? And then it's like, but then that was the next level confidence when I started working with Harley, just because it was because I had already shown that I could be a solo artist as a vocalist, right? But the production thing, I was more nervous about that because that's what my brother was known for. Because I mean, what I mean, my brother didn't sing, so it's like and no one's arguing that, you know what I mean. But as a producer, that meant more to me, like to prove that, you know what I mean, that I can also produce, you know what I mean, and like that again, that opened up so much more confidence in me. And then like I said, once I did the two Harley projects, then I was confident enough to release. I'm like, well, shit, I might as well release my solo album, and that's when I released No Traffic last year, 23. And honestly, that was like, it was so that was therapeutic. Just that project, like I always look back to that one just because that was like the completion, like of everything. Like I've always been a producer, a songwriter, and a rapper, right? And that was the first album where I kind of, to really fully produce the whole album. You know what I mean? And like that was a big deal to me just because years before that I would have never had the confidence to do that, even though I've been producing since I started. I've been producing for a long time, you know what I mean? But like that was the first time having the confidence to share my production. And but I'm thankful that I waited till I was more polished, just because it's very strategic for me because of my brother. I have to think of these things before I can't just, because people nowadays judge things so quickly. You know what I mean? So like they don't give you a chance to actually grow. So it was actually a benefit to me to really perfect my craft under the radar. And then now that I feel like I'm at the most confidence I've ever had in my craft ever. You know what I mean? Like I'm comfortable with what I know what I can do in the studio, and I know what I need help with. I know, like, what I mean. I know what I'm good at, and it just feels good to be in the studio and just have that confidence and know, and not I have to think. You just feel the energy of the moment. And also I'm no longer in the studio thinking about what are people going to think, and it's just it's just such a freedom to finally be at that point where I'm just making music now. You know what I mean? I'm not like it's not this whole, because again, like I I probably didn't think it was there before, but now looking back, oh yeah, I see it. It's just like that cloud over me everywhere I go, and I just feel like I have so much pressure, so much to prove, and so much. And I'm finally in a place now where I'm just like, you know, it's like I said, the only time that I feel it now is like when it's like again, it's just the states, and when people ask me to do like certain events and stuff, that I feel like again, it's okay, and I get it. It's my brother. I have a career, and we're related. You know what I mean? But at the same time, though, it's just still like when when it's only that place, and I'm only getting the same things. That's the only place that I kind of have a beef with, like with that kind of stuff. But outside of that, though, like honestly, like this stuff, like the last few years, and it's kind of ironic. It's just like literally just me coming over to the UK. It's just like changed my career. Like,
It's kind of common. You're in your own neighborhood, nobody gives you the opportunities you need. But then
yeah, yeah,
you get people that don't know you that are from other areas and whatever, and they're paying attention, they're seeing. So here's what I'm thinking. So when you come to Europe and you go to Australia and Japan and all these places, go there as Illa J. When you're in America, maybe create another identity and call it J Dilla J.
yeah. What's kind of funny? Like sometimes I think of it in both ways, in a sense of like it's cause like for me, I just look at it like, okay, they asked me for a tribute, I'm gonna just charge more in the States. You know what I mean? It's kind of where I'm at with it, but at the same time, I kind of like I just like I'm at the point where I really don't care. I'm just like I just won't do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm content with not doing it too. Where it's just like I've you know what I mean? It's been 19 years. I'm 38 now, man. It's like
Look, that's the thing. That's affecting your business in some way. If all they're doing is holding on to that, right? So when
yeah.
they get tired of that, you got no career because they've not given you the opportunity to grow. So if they're gonna hold you to that, then yeah, you should charge more.
Yep, that's it.
How about you let me do Dilla set, but then you also let me do a Illa set.
Yeah. But you got to pay me double. But again, like it's just what it is. We'll follow like we always do. It's like it's like, and again, that's nothing against the states. It's like yeah, we lead in a lot of stuff too, but then we also do follow a lot. You know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of artists that were actually bigger in Europe and other places first, and then we follow, and all of a sudden now they big in the states, but like they were actually big in other parts of the world first. Like you know what I mean? Like so. I just feel like my career is more like that.
What would you say if I was to say the vibe to a lot of the UK fans is they lost interest in the USA productions and music and whatever because they felt like there was more energy and more stuff happening in the UK that was more to a lot of people was a lot more creative and a lot more it had a lot more oomph. Do you get what I mean? What would you say to
Yeah,
them?
yeah. That's dope. Cause I feel like it's dope music all around the world. Like as I as I get older and I make more music and I travel more, you just realize there's so much music that you've never heard of that was always dope. Like, as a kid growing up, you hear what you hear on the radio, and it's kind of like in your limited world, it's kind of almost like that's all you know that really exists. And then as you travel, you realize, yeah, like, wow, this song was out in the US during this time and it was a big hit. It was just a whole nother song with a similar vibe in a whole nother part of the world. That and this always was there, and it's like it's crazy to me that it's like it was always kind of a because I thought the underground was like a new thing, but it's like it was always an underground of music where it was it was always there, but it's like it's one of those things you don't really know until you start to travel and people start to play you all these records. You like, wait, this was out. When was this out? Like, oh shit, then so I think it's a beautiful thing just because everyone has their different culture and vibe and that they bring to. I mean, I think if anything, that's one of my favorite things about music today is like usually it would be very US based. I feel like even for like video games and stuff. And now I'm playing. I play NBA 2K. I'm a huge basketball fan, so I'm playing NBA 2K, and I hear a bunch of songs from in different languages, and I think that's a good thing because music is universal. Because I mean, for the rest of the world, been listening to English lyrics from us for the longest. So I think it's kind of cool that all these different vibes are moving around. You know what I mean? Because it's cool. It's like everyone has different slang, and when you have cool people from these places, they figure out ways to present that slang in a dope way where it's like, oh dang, I never thought of, I never heard something put that way. You know what I mean? So I really think it's cool for people to really get into their own culture and like cool. I respect it over there, but this is what I do here. I like this vibe, and then kind of what me and Harley and me and Ash are on. We kind of just kind of combining our vibes away, and not even that. I think what's cool about what we all have is like we just happen to be on the same. We like making the same music. Like we grew up listening to the same music, and we just on the same vibes.
Are you going to do a group with Harley involved as well at some point?
I mean, I technically have two albums with her. It's called Illa J and Harley Blue. So like we'll
No,
still
but
we'll still do
what I mean
projects.
with Ash involved as well, all three of you.
Well, we're producing her record actually, so it'll technically be a Harley Blue album produced by Jaywalk and The Cadillacs. That's kind of that's what we're going for. That's what we're going for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Harley is honestly, man, like I'm super proud of her, man. She's a super talent. Like I said, like people they'll get a chance to like. I can't wait for people to hear this album. That's all I'm gonna say. She's crazy with it.
I mean, look, we've talked about the past, we've talked about some of the current things that's going on. What does the future hold for you?
But no, honestly, like the future holds is like that's the thing. Like for me, the future is my team. You know what I mean? Like, me and Ash are building something that's our band, right? But essentially, this band is it's like yes, as a musician band, right? It's a band, right? Like the name Jaywalk and The Cadillacs, but you know we also see the future of Jaywalk and The Cadillacs. Also being a platform for us to bring up our homies is just really dope. Like it's like 'cause I really feel like we have a good momentum with this, and we bring this could open the door for all the other people that we're working with. Because I see it like that. I see it like that just because, um, you know, music. Nowadays I feel like a lot of kids they see the solo artist thing, and it's a lot of people that they in their room making music by themselves, and they kind of missing out on you know what's fun about music. You know what I mean? Like, music is a sharing thing. You know what I mean? It's like music is sharing ideas. You know what I mean? And I feel like some of the best music is made with teams. You know what I mean? And I think once people start to let go of like this whole idea of being a star and just like, yo, I just want to find people that love music as much as me to just make music together. And to me, that's when the best music is made. And I want to see everybody win. You know what I mean? Like I want to see Harley win. I want to see Ash win. You know what I mean? He's working with a singer named Laville. I want to see him win. I want to, you know, like music is inspiring. It changes lives.
But then when me and you play bowling, you want to see me lose. How's that work, bro? That's unfair.
I mean, hey man, we go to sports. It's different, man. Sports is sports is hey man. We get one winner. I'm competitive too, so sports is different. Music is.
Your relationship with BBE, because you've had a lot of connections like with other labels and everything, but now you got BBE. Do you feel like this is the home? This is it now?
I gotta say, it's a different connection with them. And again, it's nothing against like Delicious Vinyl, which Delicious Vinyl is also family. You know what I mean? Shout out to Mike Ross. Like Mike Ross gave me my first deal, the first person that really believed in me, like and said, "Yo, you like I'm gonna put your record out." Like that's like, again, like, and this is at a time when it was still different. You know what I mean? They had my videos up on VH1 Soul, MTV Jams. You know what I mean? So it's like Delicious Vinyl is always family, regardless. You know what I mean? So but I just see BBE is a like, whole new chapter in my career because it's just it's like the first label to put out a record that I fully produced. Like that says a lot about how much they believe in me to be able to let me. Because I look at it like you know I take the music part serious, you know, and it's a real profession to me, you know what I mean? So it's like a label investing into me to put like all the ideas coming out of one person. That's a big deal to me. So it's like um, it just says a lot about how they trust me as a creator. You know what I mean? So it's like that's really important. And you know, obviously they have the history. They put out my brother's first solo record, so you know it's always that connection there. But honestly, you know, it's just dope working, you know, with BBE just because of like I said, they really understand the sound, and then also um, they work with artists. At least in my situation, it's beyond just the record. You know what I mean? It's like you know, like it's like damn near Daryl like is almost damn near my manager. You know what I mean? So it's just like you know it's become like label and management team. You know, in a sense because it's like um, it's one thing to just like okay, I'm gonna just put out a record, we make some money off the record, but it's another thing to like really allow the artist to the chance to actually give the artist a chance to grow and keep putting out music because a lot of times nowadays labels are more dependent on the specific success of an album and not to say that you know my albums are I have successful albums but it's more about you know they care more about that's dope you know what I mean and I think that's what's cool you know what I mean
I can't imagine them being the kind of label that will turn you into a drill artist or an artist where they're talking about,
yeah
yo, you need to talk about killing people. And
yeah man so that's rare and
bro, is there any final words at all before we finish?
honestly, I'm really excited for people to hear me and Ash's Jaywalk and the Project album, and just to hear our new band and the direction we take it. I feel like um, we definitely hit like a frequency that hasn't been really hit in a while. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that we're the only ones that's making music like this, but I know for sure we're making music that I feel like it'll be really fresh to people's ears to hear a sound like this, just because I feel like it's missing from that vibe is missing. You know what I mean? The whole vibe that we're gonna bring, and like, and again, I'm not saying that we're the only ones doing it, but I feel like it should be more of it, if anything. You know what I mean? Because you know, growing up on soul music and again like I'm thankful for where hip hop is taking music like you know what I mean it's a beautiful thing but there is a point at which people took that and then just kind of took it in some places that you know what I mean we all know where it's a few places where it shouldn't it's like where it just got out of hand you know with the rap and with the kids and the drugs and it's like it's going too far you know what I mean it's become this like weird place for people to just kind of flex and kind of like you know it's not even about music anymore and I think that's the biggest problem that's the biggest problem to me like I don't mind kids having fun you know what I mean like you know what I mean yeah but it's like you know I I just feel like it should be about the music it's too much more about who's gangster, who, how much money you spending, and like you know what I mean. Like, you know, none of that matters. Like and again, I don't care if you wear a crazy chain or none of that. You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm not judging that. I just is it dope? That's it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we've lost that a little bit. Like we've gotten too much into the characters just because we're in a generation of people sharing so much about their lives that now now people are becoming stars because they have a great personality. And yes, that's always been a thing, but I feel like with music, you know, it's tricky because, you know, it's a lot of musicians that are dope that I guess because they don't have the best personality, they won't be put in the forefront. So it's like this kind of weird kind of thing where we at now. But at the same time, I feel like um, it's like some full circle things happening right now. I really do feel like people want more soul and real shit, and it's coming. And I feel like we definitely got something for that. We got a remedy for that, because it's some real shit going on in the world, and I feel like we need some real ass music to kind of heal that. Because I mean, people talk about P Diddy and shit. I don't give a fuck. People shooting bombs at each other right now. You know what I mean? That's more important to me. So it's like, and in situations like that, you know what I mean. Back in the day, you had James Brown and Marvin Gaye to listen to. You had some soul, and I feel like you know, music it's important in the world, more than people know. You know what I mean? Like, it music can be healing. You know what I mean? And I just feel like we too many people are putting the wrong energy into music, and it actually does affect the kids more than we know. People could always say, because I feel like people get into the ego, hip hop artists when they say, "Oh, well, it's not the hip hop," and but it's like, yeah, but it's like, let's just step back a minute. Yeah, man, it ain't the whole cause. It's so many different pieces, but each time that we put that energy into it, and we have songs about robbing people and all that stuff, we can't lie and say that it don't affect the kids. It does. You know what I mean? Because kids look up to these so-called gangsters and drug dealers and people shooting people and stuff. Kids look up to that, and because people are claiming it as their real life now. It used to be a character, and now it's like this is the real person. He got out of jail, and now he got a record. You know what I mean? He got a record deal right out of jail. So it's just like, you know what I mean? What is that teaching the kids? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I just have a big problem with that. But again, like I just feel like, when it comes to change, you know, it's not always about making the biggest change. If you could change one, it's just little change at a time to me. You know what I mean? So if we could just put out some soulful music and just a little at a time, kind of like, oh shit, it's actually cool to be shit. Let me put on the suit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the way that I want to change the world. Like I could a little at a time. I'm not gonna do some amazing miracle that's like it's gonna change everything. But if I could change, bring a little positive and good vibes, little at a time, that adds up. You know what I mean? I feel like, um, I really excited to put this music out, and like I said, start a whole new chapter in my career, and I'm excited to sing more. I'm excited to sing more. I'm like I miss singing actually. I'm like yeah. So, but yeah, that's it. My bad. I'll just go on forever, man.
On that note, I just want to say thank you for being here. Really appreciate
Oh
your
man,
time
thanks so
and
much,
opening
man.
up as well about your situation on how things affect you regarding your brother being who he is and everything. It was nice to hear you open up on that, and hopefully this will change things. If people see it, maybe it might help change a few things, and I hope it does. And I hope you get the shot that you feel you deserve as well.
Word, man. Thanks so much, man. I honestly, I really enjoyed this interview too, man. It was very therapeutic, what I mean, for real. So like, I'm thankful that to be have talked about some of those things for sure, man.
You heard it right here. We've been speaking to Ash Walker, who unfortunately had to leave because he teaches classes as well, and his student arrived. So, and obviously we've been talking to Illa J. Um, I'm going to put some links in the description below so you can follow them on their social media pages and everything. So make sure you do that. And guys, like anyone who's a J Dilla fan, this is his brother, but he is an artist in his own right. And all he's saying is go and check out his work and then make a judgment based on who he is rather than already making a judgment just because you're putting that brother connection. You get what I'm saying? So just
That's
give him
it.
an
That's it.
opportunity. Go and check that out. Anyway, apart from that, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. And hopefully see you soon for the next one. I got some nice ones lined up. All right, take care. Peace.
Peace.